Welcome back. In today's video, we are going to look at how to implement dark mode in Next.js13 using Tailwind and Next themes. Okay, so I want to show you that's what you're going to build. The demo is we have this nav bar here, okay, that is having nicely this button that is going to be switching between light mode and dark mode. And then for simplicity, I have this hero section or this page where the home page, which actually have two themes, has the light mode and the dark mode. So if I come here right now, is currently in the dark mode right now. If I click, you see it goes to the light mode. If I click again, it goes into the dark mode. So we are going to work actually into this video to make sure we implement this functionality in our Next.js13 app. Thank you. Let's dive it in. Welcome back. In today's video, we are going to look on how to implement dark mode in Next.js13 using Tailwind. So we are going to be following this guide that I wrote, and at the end of the video, I will give you this guide and you'll be able to download it. I will put the link in the description so that you can download the guide. So I have this 7-step guide that I created, and we're going to be using it to follow it so that we can be able to see how we can implement dark mode. Okay, so the first step is installing your Next.js13 application using Tailwind. So this is not very hard. Simply set up a new project using create next app at latest, and then make sure in the prompts you are choosing, you make sure you accept Tailwind. Okay, you just make sure you accept Tailwind, and then that will be it. I already have my application running here. Okay, so the only changes that I have, if you just look at it in the browser, you can see I have welcome to the home page here. There is nothing else I have only this home page, and it is saying welcome. So if you check in your app, you must have your CSS. So the next thing I did, I created this styles folder and I put the main.scss, and that means I installed Sass. If I'm to show you what I have right now, I have the Next.js installed, and then the next thing I installed is Sass. So you can see even Tailwind CSS is here installed. So make sure you install and then you accept Tailwind. Okay, on the installation, they will ask you to, or they will allow you to install Tailwind. So after that, you can install Sass if you want. It is not required in any way, but I like using Sass. But Sass in these steps is not required. Okay, so you could just leave your styles in the app folder and with the global.css. But if you want to use a CSS, you can go ahead and install Sass by using npm install Sass, and then afterwards you can create this styles folder, and then you put this main.scss. Okay, then you have to go in your layout, and then in your layout on top here you have to import from the main.scss. Okay, and then that's it. That's the only thing to reach on where I am, so that we can start following the steps. So on the home page, I have this one div, okay, which is actually doing flex, item center, justify center, and height of 100. If you hover there, they tell you exactly what is this, but this is just to center this text in the center, just like this. Okay, so that is the first step. The first step, make sure you install Next.js13 with Tailwind, and we'll be ready to go. Okay, so next, the second step we are going to step 2. Step 2 is enabling dark mode in the Tailwind config file. Okay, so this is the second step. So before we go to this step, I want to show you, if you go to Tailwind, tailwind.com, okay, if you go to tailwindcss.com, and when you reach here, just search dark mode. So you can just say dark mode. Okay, search dark mode and click on it, and they will tell you exactly what you have to do. So you see that now that the dark mode is a first class feature of many operating systems, it is becoming more and more common to design a dark mode version of your website. So you see, in Tailwind, if you want to use dark mode, they have it actually built in Tailwind. Okay, the only thing you use, so they show you the light mode and the dark mode, and in the Tailwind, if you just say bg white, and then you can prefix using the word dark. Okay, so whenever we want to use something in the dark mode, we prefix with the word dark, and then we can now state any other feature we want to do. Okay, so if you see to add it manually, so by default this uses prefer color scheme, the CSS media feature, we aren't going to use this one, but they say here toggling dark mode manually, and this is what you want. You want to be able to toggle using a button. So if you want to support toggling dark mode manually instead of relying on the operating system preference, use the class strategy instead of the media. So you have to go in your Tailwind config.js, and then you add this. Okay, you have to add this key dark mode and you set it to class. That is the only thing you need to do in this step. Okay, so I'm just going to come here and copy this, and then I can just come here in the Tailwind config here, and then anywhere in this file you can actually specify dark mode to true. Okay, so simply add this line, dark mode set true. That was this step number 2. So the next step, you can see in this step we have added this dark mode class thing. Okay, so step number 3 is install the Next themes package and the React icons. The fact that we're going to be using React icons in our toggle button, we are going to install React icons, and then the Next themes is the library that is going to be able to allow us to be able to access or be able to manipulate that class we are adding. So if I just come here and I put Next themes, you can just search it here. So this is an npm package that you are going to use, and it is the one that we have been using all the time. Okay, so you can just come here and install npm install Next themes, and we are going to see how this package works in a second. Okay, so what I'm going to do is you can see I put for you the commands to use: npm install Next themes and npm install React icons. Okay, so I'm just going to come here and install those 2 packages. I'm just going to open a new prompt here, a new terminal, and then on this terminal I'm just going to put npm install, first is next themes. Okay, Next themes, let me first confirm it is the one. Npm install Next themes. Okay, that is good, and then I can put space and I put React icons. Okay, so you can install them in one line just like that. So we are installing Next themes, and the purpose of Next themes is the purpose of Next themes is going to give us the provider. Okay, is going to be able to give us the context in the app that is going to be telling us, because if we are in any page, we have like so many pages, we have to know if the dark mode is enabled or it is disabled. So the next themes launch is going to be able to put that into the provider, okay, and then that provider can give us, okay, can give us to know whether we are using dark mode or not. So you can see here, adding dark mode, we use this theme provider from Next Themes, and then you wrap around the whole app, okay. So this is how we use providers. If you are already familiar with context, you know that we can wrap a provider around the whole entire app, and then the whole app will be able to use the context, okay. And it uses this hook. So after you have created the theme provider, it gives you this hook called use theme, and this use theme hook is what you are going to be used. You see, it actually stores the theme, okay. It can be knowing whether it is dark mode or light mode, and then from that we can be able to actually toggle that theme. So I want to see if these have installed, okay. The React icons and Next themes have installed, and you can go to your package.json and you confirm if those are there, and you can see we have React icons and Next themes installed. Cool. So we are following this guide I wrote. Then after installing that one, the next one is actually creating the provider context, okay. So just create a folder called context in the root, that's the step, and then from there you create the providers .jsx file, and then we can add this code, okay. Basically what we want is just go to your root folder. So here in the folder where we have the Next.js application, right click and create new folder, and then you see context. So I'm just going to create a folder called context, and this launch is going to have our providers. So inside I'm going to create a new file called providers. Now I'm calling it providers just in case in the future you want to build on this app and you want to add more context. So in a normal application, Next.js application, you'll find you are using many providers. You may be using the cart provider, product provider, theme provider, you have toaster, and so many other providers that you may use in the app. So that's why I'm creating these providers here, that in the future you can all actually put all the providers inside here, okay. So I'm just going to see RFC, and it will create for me a providers function here, okay. And what we want to return, the theme provider, okay. So we just say theme provider from Next Themes, okay. So just put next theme provider from Next Themes, and make sure that this providers function is actually accepting the children props, okay. So here we actually put the children on this provider, and then inside here we wrap this on our children. So these are the components that we use this provider. So basically this is what the step we do here, okay. Now there are some attributes that come on the theme provider. If you check here, the most important attribute is this attribute called class. Now when you check inside the Next Themes, they tell you down here in their API documentation, first of all, they show you all the theme configuration is passed to the theme provider, and then they use local storage to store the theme, okay. They use local storage to store the theme. The only thing I want to show you actually is on what they say if you are using a class instead of using. So let me just scroll and see. This what they use. They say if you're using, okay, so they are just saying here now you have these two things you can use. So in Next.js 12 and even in the previous stuff, where Tailwind was not so popular, we used to use another method. We used to use the data attribute. Okay, we used to use data attribute, but now that we are using the class instead of data attribute, that's what the Tailwind CSS it actually enables by using a class. And how this works, if you scroll down here and on the HTML, so after you have used this dark prefix on your classes, now in the HTML you can see here dark mode not enabled. You can see how the HTML looks like. You have HTML body and then you have this class here, and in this case you will have the BG white now that the dark mode is not enabled. Okay, and you can see the HTML, there is nothing. Now to enable dark mode, you simply add this class on the HTML. You have to only simply add this HTML class and you add dark to this. When you do that, we can actually try that one right now before even implementing anything from this. If you go to the HTML, okay, so what they are trying to say, if I go to my app, let me just go to my page here, and we have here BG gray 50. I want to add that in the dark mode. Okay, so you just use the key dark, and then on this dark you can prefix maybe BG gray 900. Okay, so if you check at this point, dark mode is not enabled anywhere. If you check in the browser, you will see that the app actually remains in the light mode, or it remains with the background of gray 50. Okay, the dark mode is not working. And if you check in our layout, this is where our HTML is located. You see HTML has nothing to do with dark mode. It has no class dark mode, and this is what they said in the Tailwind documentation. If there is no dark mode on the HTML, it will not be enabled, and when we add the dark, then it will be enabled. Let me just go first of all and also say this one. Okay, I want you to give it text. So by default is text, so I want to say in the dark mode. So when it is dark, I want to give it text black, text white. Okay, just say text white in the dark mode. So let's just go on to our layout, and then here we add a class. Okay, we can add a class name and we say dark. So if you just do this and you add dark, you have actually enabled dark mode in the whole of the application. If you now go back, you see the app has turned into dark mode. Okay, so the application has turned into dark mode. The fact that this class name dark is there, and if you remove this, then it is going to be disabled. If right now we remove that and we go back and reload the app, then the dark mode is going to be gone. Okay, so the dark mode works with the class, and next thing we have to tell it that we want to use the class instead of the data attribute. So on the provider, you can pass in this attribute class. So you can just go ahead and add this attribute to your provider here. So just add space and add attribute to be class. So we want to change the class, and this work you saw here in the layout of adding this class here is going to be the works of this provider. It's not just going to be manipulating by adding this onto the layout. Okay, it is going to be adding this onto the layout. Okay, so we can just do that. So next, let's just move on. So we have set our provider, and by the way, make sure it is using use clan, because this whole manipulation of the theme provider is going to do it in the client side. Okay, so on top here we're just going to come and say it is a client. This is a client component, and we can just say use client. Okay, so that is good. Let's just go to the next step. So the next step is to create the button. Okay, so create the toggle button. So in the you create the components folder, and then in the components folder we create the theme switcher JS. This is going to be our button, and then it can just have all this code. Okay, but the most important thing is to create this this button. Okay, let me just go ahead and create a button, and we can also give it an icon. So let me first go here. So create the components. I'm just going to say outside here in the root, create the folder called it components, and then in this components folder I can just go ahead and create a new file. I'm just going to call it you can call it anything you want, whether the toggle button, the theme switcher, it is up to you. Just going to call it theme switcher .jsx, just like that, and let's say RFC, and then what we only want to return is actually a button. Okay, a button, and we can just give it some class. Okay, we can give it some class here, and let's just say bg white, not bg white already. Let's just say give it bg gray 50, maybe bg gray 50, and in the dark mode we can just say give it bg gray and maybe 900. Okay, and then the text we can put the icon inside here. Let me just also give some padding. So you can just say have the padding maybe of 2. This is 1.5 rem. Inside there we can just put the light mode icon, and I'm just going to go to React icons. Okay, and on the React icons I can put the sun here. You can put the sun to get the icons for the sun, and I'm just going to use this BS sun, this one here. So just come here, and inside here just put this icon BS sun, just like that, and you have to import this. You can just import it on top here, import. Okay, this from React icons, stroke, since it is BS, this is the bootstrap icons. Okay, so I have this. Okay, and I can just you can just go ahead and do so many things, but what we can do is actually making sure this we sit on the screen. And sit on the screen, I'm just going to quickly create the so you see here, after creating this you have to create the navbar where we are going to place the want to create the navbar where we can use the button. So I'm just going to create also another component called navbar, and in the navbar I'm just going to import the button and then also do that. Okay, so just go quickly in the components and create the navbar where we can use that button to sit on the screen. So I'm just going to see navbar.jsx, just like that, RFC. Okay, and then here I'm just going to have this as a navbar, and you can just set this one to be nav, and then you just give a class name. First of all, we can give a px of 16, py of maybe 8. Okay, and let's give it a bg of pink. So in the normal mode I can give it pink just say ping 600. Okay, ping 600, and since it's just like, just say make this one ping 50. Okay, just make ping 50, and then we can put here two things. I can just come here and I put like h2. Let me just put h2, where you can say maybe JB web developer, just like that. I'm just going to import the theme switcher, so I'm just going to come here and say theme switcher. Okay, I'm just adding the component theme switcher here. So let's also make it to be flex. I'm just going to say flex. Okay, justify, in fact, item center first, and then you can also justify space between, just like that. Just go ahead and use this navbar. So to use this navbar, we simply put it in the layout. Okay, you know this how it goes. So in the layout, simply come here on the layout. Let me first make this one go down, and then what I can do is that on top here, I want to just come and put my navbar, so that it is actually on all pages. So I put my navbar here. Let's go to the app now. Let's try to refresh. Okay, so you can see I have the navbar, and the navbar has this icon. Okay, it has this icon here. We can just go ahead and make it more bigger than that. So let me just go back. So to the navbar, if you go to the navbar, don't want you to get confused. The navbar is the one which is having this button and this text here. Okay, and the padding Y, you can reduce it if you want, but let's just stay with that. And yeah, let's just stay with that, and let's just make this one 600 for sure, to give it a nice look. 600. I want it to be somehow different. Okay, so that we can see the button very well. Okay, so we have this. Let's just work on this button to look nice. First of all, let me just go back to the theme switcher, which has the button. And this button, first of all, you can give it a class name, and you can change the width and height. You can just give it, like, for instance, 8, and also width of 8. Okay, if you do that, let's just see. Okay, so you see now how it looks like. And then let's just go ahead and give this button some padding. So here, padding, we have only padding Y of 2. Let's give it a padding X of 4, and let's make sure it is rounded. So you can just see rounded and maybe LG. Let's just look on how it looks like. Okay, so that right now it's looking much more better. So now, only clicking right now is not doing anything. Okay, there is nothing it is doing. Okay, at this point we want to start working on it. Okay, so first of all, we have to get to know where is the theme, the current theme, and to use the current theme, we actually use to use the current theme, we can just say const. Okay, and then here we have access to the theme. If you remember very well from Next Themes, as I've said before, they store the current theme in the theme. Okay, they use this use theme hook. It is the one which is actually holding the theme. Okay, so what we can just do right now, we can just say const. Okay, and you can just say theme, comma, set theme is equal to use theme, and you get this one from Next Themes. As simple as that. So this is the hook that we are going to be using. So this hook can tell us the current theme. Okay, And as I've said, they use the local storage. So if right now I just go to my local storage, add use client, and on top of this, yes, have to use client. Okay, just like that, solve that problem. But just go ahead and check in the local storage. So you might or might not, if you ever had any website with the dark mode, blah blah, you might just check in your local storage and you might see this theme key. So, and it is in the local storage. So go to the, when you go to your application, you go to where we have these tabs here. So instead of network, just choose application. Choose application, which we are on right now. Okay, choose application, and on the application choose local storage, then click on this link here, localhost 3000, and you see all the keys that you have actually in the local storage. And one of them, never mind about these other ones, the one that is important is this local storage. Okay, so if you want to go and even print out what is the current theme and what, so this one gives us the access to the current theme, and based on this theme we want to change using the state theme. Okay, for instance, on click we would want to change this. First of all, want to change these icons, so let me just put another icon here. Okay, and let me go to React icons and search for the moon, just like that, and I'm just going to get this BS moon, this one. So just come and put it here, and then on top here, let me just also get this from, sorry, let me just get this BS moon. You can sometimes click on this and it will just import it. Okay, so we have the moon and the sun and the moon icons to represent dark mode and light mode. So I have the two icons here. If we go back here on the app, I have them looking like this. Want to show one icon, okay, want only show one icon at a time. If it is light mode, it should show this light. If it is dark mode, it should show this dark one. Okay, or you can just do them vice versa, that in the light it shows the moon. So you could just like show the mode that you are in, but you have to show one icon here using the theme. Okay, so how do we show the icon? If you just go here to take you through this logic. Okay, check on this logic here. Let me just try to zoom in. Okay, so we are using the theme, and the theme has two things. It has the light mode and the dark mode. Okay, so you can just say if the theme is equal to light, then show the moon icon. Else, if it is in the dark mode, show the sun icon. So this is the logic. Okay, so to show down here, we have to use the theme. So just ask like, what is the current theme? If the current theme is equal to the light, okay, if it is just light mode, so just say is equal to light, and this one has to be a string, equal to light. If this is true, then want to render one of these icons, and want to render the moon icon. Okay, just like that. And else it will be of course dark mode, since there are only two. Else it will be dark mode, and just come here and render this dark mode icon, just like that. And with that, only that change, it should show one icon, and you see right now is showing this icon right now. Okay, yeah, so it is actually showing that let me check, confirm. So if the theme is equal to light, so base moon, else so the sun. Okay, So, and let's just go and put print out the theme. So I want to go and say console.log theme. Okay, I want to go to the console and see the theme. Let me just go back to the console. And right now is saying it is undefined. Okay, so the theme is not defined at this point. Okay, so we haven't put it in we haven't wrapped the whole app using that theme provider, which we are going to do in a second. Okay, then another thing we want is if we click, if the button is clicked, it has to change the theme. Okay, if it has been light, right now we're having it undefined because actually currently right now in the provider we haven't wrapped anything in the context. So here this provider here is one which has the it has the capacity to wrap things on the app here. Okay, so what we are going to do is the first thing is, let me first work on that function. Where is the button? So here what we want to do is the functionality change, and we put on click here. So I'm just going to come here and say on click. Okay, and what do we want on click to do? So on click, okay, on click it has to set or to run the function whereby it is changing this theme. Okay, so it's going to run set theme. And what do we want to change to set the theme? So I want to say if the theme, okay, is equal to light, okay, the same thing. If the theme is equal to light, we want it to set it to if it is light, then it should set it to dark, else it should set it to dark. Okay, that is what you want. We have to first ask ourselves, what is the current theme? If the current theme is equal light, then it should set it to dark, and else it set it to wait a minute. If the theme is light, then it should set it to dark, else I think it should set it to light. Let me just confirm the logic here. So we just run this. If the theme is equal to dark, yes. If it is dark, then you should set it to light, else leave it in the dark. Just the vice versa still works, so long as you have whatever you are considering. If the theme is equal to light, then it should set to dark, else it should leave it to light. Okay, so after having this logic now, okay, this doesn't have to do anything because light mode, remember dark mode is not enabled. So even if you click the button, there is nothing it is going to do, okay, because the dark mode is not enabled. So to enable the dark mode, what you are going to do is using this theme, the provider. This provider is the one which is having the capacity to start modifying our layout. So what we can do is on this layout, just come here on this layout here, whether you just cut this whole body, and we can wrap it in the providers. Okay, and import providers from the context providers, just like that, and then inside you can pass in this, just like this. Okay, so after you doing this, okay, after you doing this, now the theme provider will make sure this theme the provider will make sure to manipulate this HTML tag. Okay, it will start manipulating this HTML tag, and it will also make this use theme now very relevant. Okay, it will now start putting this so that we can access it globally, like in other places where we have it here. Okay, and you can see by just putting that, it changes here because now it sets it to light. you can check here in the console, just a mere of putting this, wrapping the application in our layout here. After wrapping the provider, you see the kind theme turns to be light, and this is coming from local storage. Okay, this is coming from they are using this local storage key here, light, and they are telling us now it is the light mode. Okay, so if you just click right now, you see it is actually working. Okay, it is already working, and you can just see that. Okay, now there is one simple problem. Okay, there is one simple problem that we are going to see, and if you just go to see that problem, we can simply go to the console. Actually, yeah, I think the console, scroll up, and you will see here we have a problem. Okay, with this theme provider, it adds this some things here. Okay, it adds some things here. So what you have to do to take away some of these problems from from here, I've been getting this one, but just go to your HTML. Let's just actually see what it does. If we go to, you probably going to get the hydration problem also. So if you go to elements, okay, if you go to elements, the first problem is this. It is adding this I think this async. This is what the problem is, adding this async problem. But I wanted to show you this here on the HTML. You see it is adding there the class dark, and then the style color theme dark. So it adds these two keys. Okay, and this one can cause a problem of the hydration mismatch. Okay, because on the, remember this component by default, this one is a server component. So on the server, when they are rendering the HTML, the render went has nothing here. Now on the client, this theme provider manipulates it by adding these things here, adding this class dark, and which is actually the one which is responsible for making dark mode work. Okay, so after doing that, it can cause that error of the hydration mismatch, because what was sent by the server is actually not what is rendered on the client. Okay, so in the first place, what you can do is you can go to your HTML here, and you can just say class name, and you can set this one to light, and then also add the style, and in the style you can set the color scheme. You can change the color scheme and you set it to light. Okay, so that these attributes, they are actually there right away from the server, and we're just going to be only manipulating them. Okay, so just add these ones to avoid the hydration problem, this one. So still it will still work properly. There is nothing that will happen if I still, yeah, so you see it is still working properly here. Okay, we still have our dark mode issue settled. Okay, now we have only this. Now let's just go back to the console. Okay, refresh the app, and you can see even on the refresh, by the way, you can see on the refresh you still have the dark mode enabled, and we still have the hydration mismatch, and hydration failed because the initial UI does not match the what is rendered on the server, and this is because of this dark. Okay, the one that was set was dark, and it is just because I still have this in the in the application here in this, okay, you can just come and delete this value here. Let me just clear this, and let me just refresh. Okay, let's go back to the console. Okay, okay, so the one now we're having is this the async, and let's just make sure this is working. Okay, it is still working. Okay, so the problem that we're having right now is this script. Okay, this script I haven't, you can just go ahead and maybe search about this one warning, because what it is doing, if you check in the elements, is adding a script. Okay, is adding a script in the head. Okay, is adding this script here, this one, and it is having async. Okay, yeah, so that is how you can put the dark mode. Otherwise the dark mode is okay. We are still having this. By the way, there is another one you could use. I think it is called suppress hydration. Let me just say suppress hydration warning. So you can just also use this. It is under React. If you click on React, there is something else they give you here. Let me come here. There is this where you can put this this key, and you can just come simply write this, I think, on this HTML here. Let's remove these ones, and you can use this suppression hydration warning. Now this, you shouldn't get into using this so much, but it can also work to suppress the hydration warnings. I wanted to show you why they are using it. Let's see here on the Stack Overflow if they recommended that. So you can see here, you can use the suppress. Okay, you can simply use the suppression. You see the warnings, they are gone. Okay, you can use that in the, let me just say console here, and they are gone. Okay, and what you have used is this key, suppression hydration warning. This one is to remove any mismatch if the client and the client side and the dark side, if they are not matching, they just simply say, you just suppress the hydration warning. So in matters where it persists, okay, where it persists, simply just use the suppression hydration warning. Otherwise, you can stick, if this one works for you, of adding the class. So you can just add the class to maybe light, and then the style you add color scheme. If this one works for you, then stick to this one, and by default I'm also going to add light, just like that. So if this one works for you, you can also stick to this one. Okay, you can stick to this one and leave out the suppression hydration warning, but I've shown you how to remove using the suppression. So there are two ways. You can set this color, the class and the style, by default they be there, and then we can now start manipulating it here. But now for my case, it is actually persisting even when I've put those ones. Okay, and I think it is because of this this link it puts here, cannot render async or defer script outside the main document. And you can you can also comment in the description how you removed this, adding async or moving it in the root head. You can just show comment how you took off this error, but I'm just going to now stick back to the separation. Let me just use this suppress hydration warnings, simply take away these problems. Okay, so that is it, guys. I'm just going to put the link where you can get this where you can have this guide. Okay, I'm just going to put the link where you can have this guide. Okay, I have this full guide, and you can also subscribe on our YouTube channel. Many of people who watch the videos, they don't subscribe, they just download videos. Please like the video, and also, so let me just come here, and you can just go to my YouTube channel. Okay, just make sure you have subscribed. Okay, make sure you have subscribed, and so that you can support us, and also like the video so that it can have be shared or shared among so many people. So that is the project. We have the dark mode working properly, toggling between the dark mode and the light mode. Thank you so much for watching. See you